Extracorporeal membrane oxygenation for severe acute respiratory distress syndrome. Definition is a short-term special procedure performed to critically patients who have an acute and severe cardiac and/or respiratory failure that is reversible. When patients haven't responded to all conventional treatments and therapies.
VA ECMO is often performed using centrally placed cannulas, meaning that the cannulas are placed in the great vessels in close proximity to the heart. This animation shows highly oxygenated blood from the ECMO circuit being returned to the patient through an arterial cannula placed in the patient's ascending aorta. With extreme cardiac dysfunction on ECMO support, if the heart is not beating and the aortic valve is not opening, blood being pumped through this cannula provides 100% of the patient's blood flow. In this scenario, there's no mixing of the two circulations since no circulatory support is being provided by the native heart. However, as the heart recovers and begins to beat, the aortic valve opens and blood flow from the native ECMO support, even with centrally placed cannulas. Care should be taken to adequately oxygenate blood traversing the aortic valve if the lungs are capable.
Application in medicine. ECMO technique was an adaptation of conventional cardiopulmonary bypass technique and introduced into treatment of severe acute respiratory distress syndrome in the 1970s. Pros and cons. Pros. It can really be a game changer for patients with breathing problems, so its effectiveness is being analyzed. And cons. More complex and expensive than regular ventilation.
A WikiVidi Documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. Extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, also known as extracorporeal life support, is an extracorporeal technique of providing prolonged cardiac and respiratory support to persons whose heart and lungs are unable to provide an adequate amount of gas exchange or perfusion to sustain life. The technology for ECMO is largely derived from cardiopulmonary bypass, which provides shorter-term support. This intervention has mostly been used on children, but it is seeing more use in adults with cardiac. Experiments on neonatal animals showed that ECMO treatment can lead to apoptosis of enterocytes, damage of the intestinal mucosal barrier, and bacterial translocation. This might explain greater severity of systemic inflammatory response. WikiVidi Documentaries.
Issue in Ecuador. In adult patients with ARDS, two large randomized controlled trials, published in 19 1979 and 1994 failed to show an advantage of ECMO over conventional treatment. Survival rating were only 10% and 33% respectively in the ECMO groups.
Saving a life is no easy task. Options for treatment vary based on the severity of injury, the prior health of the patient, the experience of the medical team, and the resources available within the hospital. For over 60 years, doctors relied on ventilators to supply oxygen and remove carbon dioxide when a patient's lungs or respiratory system fail. Ventilators oxygenate the body by forcing air into the lungs through a tube inserted into the trachea. Life-saving techniques. ECMO and ventilators each come with pros and cons. Mechanicals, with both the equipment and experienced staff to help a patient who needs assisted breathing, but can't take the strain of being on a ventilator. Texas Children's is an internationally recognized center of excellence for ECMO, with advanced experience in this field. For more information, go to Texas Children.
Conclusion: ECMO technology, as well as conventional treatment of adult ARDS, have undergone further improvements in conventional treatment. Lung protective ventilation strategies were introduced and ECMO was made safer by applying heparin-coated equipment, membranes and tubings.
Has always wanted to be a veterinarian. At 28, she was pursuing her dream when she began to feel achy pain, a pain she simply ignored.
At first just joint pain, but then it progressed to nausea and eventually coughing up blood.
Heather became sick, very sick. She was taken to a local hospital where doctors said her lungs were shutting down. She was transported to MedStar Washington Hospital Center, one of the few hospitals in the region equipped with a medical device called ECMO.
It's basically a pump that can support the function of the lungs or the lungs and the heart.
ECMO, or extracorporeal membrane oxygenation,
a support that allows us to replace the function of the heart and the function of the lung for the time being, and in the meantime hope that those two systems are going to heal.
In Heather's case, she was dying. Her lungs were... Heather's recovering and is on chemotherapy and other medications to fight her condition. She knows this life-saving technology saved her life.
I've been told several times that if this had happened to me anywhere else, I would not have made it.
Thanks.